Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Meet the Bytes. This will be episode number 5, and I am fortunate to have Simon here with me. Simon, finally,
Yeah,
we get to
thanks.
have this interview. I've been trying to get with you for so long. I think this was like right before I went to the Philippines, actually. I think this was a month and a half ago. You were
Yeah,
about to go on vacation or something, and then when you came back, I was on vacation. So
yeah.
finally, we get to do this together.
Nice to meet. Yeah, that's really cool.
I mean, I want to introduce you, but I think it'll be better if you introduce yourself. So, Simon, if you can introduce the world, who you are, what's your name, what do you do here at Airbite?
Yeah, my name is Simon Spati. I'm a data engineer originally, and I was like blogging on the side as my hobby. And now at Airbyte, I do it. I do my hobby as a job. So I write. 50% of my time is spent writing. So I observe the open source data space mostly, and I write about new trends. I try to be valuable to user to see some things it's not obvious, and also of course Airbyte stuff that is to spread the word why Airbyte is useful and how we can use it. I think I already have 15 years of like data engineering. It was called business intelligence before, so was a business intelligence engineer and was mainly doing drag and drop tools with SSIS from Microsoft or other tools like from Oracle. So there was a lot of drag and drop and not really coding. It was more putting the building blocks together. And and then slowly, I also went 2 years abroad in Copenhagen, or 2.5 years. And there I was slowly getting into big data and data engineering. And it just got me hooked that I can automate so much without using the clicking. So that was, it's still up to date, still one of my main goals to automate and make things easier for everyone and also myself.
I'm trying to figure out to do that in everything in my life, even outside of code. So, outside of tech. That is amazing, though. So, you've been in tech for 15 years, pretty much.
Yeah, at
And
least, yeah.
you started writing just as a hobby. First of all, why did you start writing? And was it always talking about data? Right? Modern data stack, whatever, today. What got you to start writing in the first place?
I write about productivity, personal knowledge management things, and data. So, but I started with data, and mainly because I read a lot or listened a lot of podcasts from Tim Ferriss, and many were saying they use a journal or they are kind of reading. I was also always fascinated by people who write. Their sole purpose was writing, and I was kind of inspired by that. How can you write every day? And then the more I wrote myself, I thought, oh, that's quite hard. It's actually not as easy as you think, right? It's a hard process you get stuck. You don't know what to write. You might be not insightful. But then somehow I just started when I was in Copenhagen, and I didn't know really how I write. But then slowly by slowly, I really found my voice, and then actually writing by experience. That was
What do you
when
mean
it
writing by
really,
experience? Writing about your experience?
yeah. So in the beginning, I
Ah,
thought I need to write a fancy story or something that really
yeah.
everybody wants to read, but I'm really bad at it. So I cannot write a story. That's also why I was very bad at school in writing. I was really bad. And but when I could write what I learned at my work or whatever I learned online or what I did in my side hustles, I just start writing about it, and that felt really natural to me. Just by, I have to say, I also have a rigid second brain or a PKM system. So I really organized with how I organize my notes, how I store them. The whole workflow is really structured. And just by doing that, I write a lot. And through that, I also learn more and how I want to write and what is my voice. Yeah, that's how I got
Nice.
started.
That's awesome. And thing is, writing takes a lot of time, right? And you working as a data engineer and et cetera in tech, you still have to continuously learn new technologies outside of work, right? How are you able to find that time? Did you just love it that much? You would write until late in the night, or would you focus on the weekends? Because that does take time, especially when it comes to writing about technologies in general.
Yeah, it was actually writing. You cannot make shortcuts, right? That's actually just what I said before. I want to automate everything. Writing is really the opposite. I don't know why I like it then, but it's But I made it a habit. So every Friday evening, I went to the local library in Copenhagen. It is a very beautiful, I don't know, 5, 6 store levels of building, very old, very traditional. Everybody's like studying there. I just took a big coffee. I took maybe some sweets, and I just made it appealing to go there. And then I didn't do anything except writing. So I wrote, maybe sometimes I wrote like 4 hours, sometimes only an hour because I didn't get anything. But the habit, and also because I saw people appreciate, because I did that in my free time, and then when I publish, I found like people really like it. It was a new feeling to me to get this kind of, it's also a feedback loop, right? Because people are writing comments, they say this is bad, this is good.
And it's very helpful too.
It's really helpful for learning and growing. So that really triggered it even more. But I also have to say, I'm not a writer who writes every week or so. I was like maybe, I think I have 6 articles a year, but they're very long. But I write really rare, but I like to have like really long articles, and then I spent really like sometimes 3 months on one article when I did it as a side hustle.
3 months. Okay.
Yeah.
So when
sometimes I put it aside and then I come back. So it's like
hold on. My brain. Hold on. 3 months.
Yeah, wow, I think one of my best article on my personal website was literally like not like full time, but just like I always go back. Maybe I started another. I also write in parallel, so I don't like focus on one thing only, and then that gives me other ideas, and then I just add on. That's why I think one of my skills is that to add really a lot of insight in one blog post, just by adding, and also when I have something like an idea, I just put it in my second brain, and then I can add it. So it's not like I cannot be on the spot insightful. That is quite hard, but over time, the longer I wait, usually the articles, the better they get.
Okay. No, that makes sense. So I do a lot of videos, right? The more effort, the longer it takes to make a video. Because I'm putting more effort into it, the better it comes out. That doesn't mean it'll perform well on views, but it comes out better, unfortunately. That is interesting.
That's the other thing, yeah. Yeah, you can actually, if you choose a bad topic, but you spend a lot of time, you can do as good as you want, but you might not get really a lot of views. But the thing is also, because I did it as a hobby, I didn't really care too much. Of course, it was nice if people read it and I got a lot of reach, but it wasn't the biggest goal to have like millions of views or something. So it's, but now at work, it's a bit different, right? We try to, I don't want to write and waste time and that for people or nobody reads, right? So I really like to get the topics right and then write about them.
Definitely. And hold on. Also, one thing, you said this was like a side hustle. That means you made money from this.
No. Sorry, it was just a hobby. So it's kind of, I always had like a website. So I had a party website when I was young. So I uploaded some party pictures before Facebook and all this stuff. Then I transferred that knowledge just to a WordPress website. And now I have like a static generated website with GoHugo, which is actually only Markdown. And then you generate everything. So I also very much like web development. Not like the today's Java script that is, I have no idea about that. I used JavaScript when it was like 10 years ago, when it was very, with Ajax and this kind of stuff. So it was like long time ago, but I really like to also do that part of myself. So it was really like a hobby kind of.
Now, like thinking about, so you've been in tech 15, how many years is that? 15 years, right?
Yeah.
So question then, right? So you've been in tech for 15 years. My question then is, technically, so your title is, I think, data engineer and technical author. I think it's your title, right? Right. But why did you fully leave data engineering? Because you were a lead data engineer for like 4 years at another company called, I think, Road and Shorts. Is that correct? And then again, you were a data engineer, business analyst prior to that. So you were a lead engineer there. Then you did some freelance stuff, and now you fully do just technical writing. I think it's just technical writing what you focus on now, right?
Yeah, it's half. That's why actually first I saw a job offer at Bytes that was 100% writing. I was actually applying to it, and then at the end I declined because I couldn't see myself doing writing full time. And then a year later or so, I saw this half, and then I knew, okay, that's my role. So I don't want to leave data engineering because that's also my passion. And I think my best articles is when I write, as said before, from experience. So I also work with our analytics team. So I built like our internal analytics right now, and then I will produce blog posts from it. So I have inspiration from it, and also I learn the pain, right? That people will have, and then they will also appreciate that when they read it. So
definitely. Okay, so that is interesting then. So you're part-time technical author, right? A technical writer, part-time data engineer. I didn't know that. I thought it was you're a data engineer, but mainly writing full time. How does that work? That is so interesting. And
It's very interesting.
That's a very unique job. I've
Yeah,
never heard of anything like that anywhere. I mean, my primary job is to focus on our YouTube channel, everybody. That's not for an engineer. I've never heard of that too, right? So this is a very unique company, and that's the reason I think we're doing so well. But how does that work? I'm really intrigued by this.
It's that's also the first thing or the first job offer I saw like this. So I think it's pretty unique, and it's also what really got me hooked. Apart from everything else, which the product and everything, which is very good. But yeah, it's a work in progress because it's right now it's up to us how we split the work. So if we feel like we would like to program more, we would just like each of us writers. We are like 4 of us. We are trying to have like different cap owners. So I'm a bit closer to the analytics. So I was like writing this data trends orchestration blog post. After that, I wrote a Databricks tutorial, and then I felt like, oh, now I would like to program or like code a bit. And then that's like why actually, I talked to Chris, and now the Chris Duong, and then I talk about I'm implementing internal DAX pipeline for our like high touch DBT and workflow, and then trying to also write about this. So this will also like trigger a new blog post.
Wow!
But it's not like written in stone.
Not like back and forth. Yeah. So you get to choose what you want to do, whether if it's more on the engineering side. I mean, you do both, but you can choose which one side you want to be heavier on, whether if it's technical writing or data engineering.
We also have like a brainstorming every, I think, once a month. So where we brainstorm ideas, and depending on that ideas, some might be a bit more technical, like also tutorials we actually need to get hands on, because otherwise we cannot really write. So they're like, but if there's more ideas about data insights, which are more general, it depends on demand. We also think that what we are most into, we are also writing the best content. So I think we have a lot of freedom in terms of that to also produce the best content. And we are following the market quite closely. So we try to write what's also like hot right now. I always try to see where is the most confusion, and then I try to write about this, right? Also the word that you're not allowed to say anymore, the modern data stack, where there's so many different tools. It's kind of I like to demystify that and just to like show what it is and why it's good. But there's not always like good and bad, right? It's always both. So it's that's what I see as my job too.
That is awesome. That makes me happy to hear, to be honest, because it's the exact same thing here on in the DevRel side, where like I primarily focus on video content, and I get to choose what kind of content I want to work on. I mean, of course, there's some content I have to create, but I get to choose the kind of content I want to create where I have the most fun, and I think the content comes out the best that way. So I really I enjoy this. I'm getting paid to interview you right now, right? So you're getting paid to be interviewed by me, right? So sponsored by Bytes. Welcome to Meet the Bytes. That is amazing. I'm really happy to hear that. Now, before I get into this other thing I want to talk about, I want to go over this article that you wrote about data orchestration trends. But before that, I do have a question for you in regards to engineering. You work on a bit on the engineering side. How has that been for you working here at Bytes in engineering compared to your last job? Because you were a lead, I believe, right? Lead data engineer?
Yeah, we were like a very small like team of 4 or 5, but then we had a bigger team in Germany. So it was a lead, but for like small people, but it got bigger and bigger. So yeah.
Okay, definitely. And so, like, how is it for you? How's no worry, Charles will be watching, Michelle will be watching. I'm just joking, but so they don't have time to watch this. They're so busy. But how has that been for you, right? Joining the engineering team here as well. I mean, technical writing team and engineering, but how has that been on the engineering side?
Yeah, I was when I saw the job, I thought like it's too good to be true. So I was kind of a bit worried. Okay, when I start, what will be the downside of it? And when I started, I think it was really like how everybody was like telling. So it was not like a fake that to get me or something. It was really like true. I think
Wait. What was too true? What was too good to be true?
like the freedom we have
Yeah.
that you can actually basically write whatever we want. I thought like
Yep.
I will be told what I need to write about because we have some guidelines or some topics we need to write. But it's just also the freedom of asynchronous work. I can just go to co-working. I can work during the night if I had a hard time with my daughter or whatever. I can just really be it's my first full remote job, so that's also one thing was very appealing to me. Although I had like 2 years of COVID remote, but the company itself was not like remote first, so it was a different way of. It was remote, but not really. Everybody was not like grew up with that, so I was really excited about that as well. And I also have to say I'm only here for 3 months, so I cannot like say like. But in these 3 months, it really.
You're here for 3 months, but the company's been around for 2 years, right? So you're here in the later stages, the more mature stages of the company as well.
Yeah, it's interesting when you think about that you're only 3 months, but you're already one of like the newer, but the oldest. But that's it feels like I think you have the same feeling maybe that it feels already I have been here for 1 or 2 years because it just things are moving so fast, right? That's also one thing I kind of expected to be like in this hyper growth that things are so fast. But I think it's only possible because we are remote. Otherwise, I think you cannot grow that fast, in my opinion. But because we are remote, we can actually do it, and
we can hire anyone from literally anywhere in the world.
Yeah, that's actually the like from Switzerland. It's quite hard to get hired, so that was.
Really? In the US?
Also, normally you need to work as a contractor, and then you don't get the benefits of like a Swiss contract. So, but at Airbyte, we hire at every country, and you get like a local contract, which was also a requirement for me, and that was another reason. Yeah,
that's amazing. I think even with, when it comes to traveling, we're allowed to like, let's say if you're in Switzerland, let's say you want to live in London or whatever, a lower cost of living country, you want to be there for like 6 or 8 months. That won't affect your salary at all as long as you're there for only up to 8 months, right? And you go back to where your home is actually at, and you still keep your salary. I mean,
that's actually one goal I had. Yeah, to like because I was living in Copenhagen, I really liked it to be there like during summer. So I was thinking to go there for like a month or two during summer. I just need to figure out how I pay like then double the rents. So
I know, right? Double the rent. That's the only downside. Oh no, what a problem to have.
Yeah, that's really first world problems. But it's a nice problem to have.
Yeah, no, I think even Natalie's traveling. She's traveling around Europe. I'm not sure if she still is, but she was traveling around Europe. Right? She lives in New York.
Yeah, we were last week or 2 weeks before we were in Paris to meet like a couple of Bytes people. Yeah, nice. So it's a short trip from here, so it's so nice.
Yeah, but so like I'm going to London for Big Data AI, and then I'm going to Paris, and I was looking at, and I'm going to be there. I mean, Paris Big Data AI is only 3 days after London Big Data AI, so I'll just stay in Paris for 3 days. Or I was thinking maybe I'll just fly to Switzerland, visit the country, etc. Take some good footage of my camera equipment. And I mean, but the fact that we can just have those options, have the ability to do this I think is amazing, and I love it.
Actually, I think it's also not what I also noticed during my writing period is actually when you change your surroundings, you also change the output, or at least sometimes when I need to be creative, I go out in the nature and I write outside.
And you live in the perfect country to do that. Switzerland.
Yeah. So just in my backyard, there's a huge forest, and in the other side is a big lake.
Did you say just your backyard?
Yeah, I have like literally 3 steps, and then I'm already in the forest. So it's the best. Though I'm also already a little bit older, so the older you get, the more you go back to nature. I guess before it was not interesting at all, but just to like ground yourself and getting ideas or just like digesting. Normally, I don't take any podcasts or anything. Sometimes I take books or audibles. I listen a lot of audibles where I get also a lot of inspiration. But sometimes I just like on purposely don't take anything with me just to let my mind wandering. And then when I come back, I'm like refreshed, and I can just write. I don't need to put any effort, right? It just comes out without.
So true.
And that's
so true.
I think when you travel, it might be like a bit awkward for other people or other companies to think, oh, why you get paid for traveling? But through the travel, I think you get more inspired and have new ideas, which is very important in our
And you
jobs
get
where
to
you have
meet
to,
other colleagues as well, which is
yeah,
always fun.
yeah.
That must be amazing because my backyard, I live in Las Vegas. I live in the desert. So as I'm looking outside to my backyard right now, what I see is fake grass, dirt, and rocks. So
I,
it doesn't get any more motivating than that.
I have a huge glasses here and I see the Alps. Like if it's like, on the,
Are
now
you
I cannot
serious right now? You see the
put it.
Alps?
Yeah, I see the whole chain of Alps from my, so it's really, yeah.
I need to go there. There's AC there, right, in Switzerland? Is there air conditioning? I know some countries don't have a lot of air conditioning in their homes.
At homes, I don't have, but at the co-working they have. That's why
Okay.
at the
I'll go
moment
to
I go
co-working
often
space.
to co-working space. Yeah.
And that's covered by the company. Thank you, Airbite. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Sponsored by Airbite. Awesome. Okay, I definitely will consider checking out Switzerland. All right, awesome. That's amazing though. I'm so happy to hear about other people's experiences from, literally all around the world, which is amazing.
Yeah.
Now, what I want to go into, and I'm just going to ask you a few questions about this. And for those who are listening who don't know about this, you recently, I think about a month ago, if not a little bit over, wrote an article titled Data Orchestration Trends, the shift from data pipelines to data products. But before we go forward with this, okay, move forward. How did it take you 3 months to write this article? Like, how many months did it take you to write this article?
I think that was within my first 4 weeks, 5 weeks, something like that.
Uh-huh.
So the writing was rather fast because I had a lot of insight from my previous work, and it's something that's I'm like passionate since the last 10 years, maybe, like orchestration,
Yeah.
because it's something also it's just so key in the data world. But then the actual review process, and I also have to say it's just as good as this because we have a really great team, and that's also something I really appreciate. Like when you write on your own, you kind of writing in the dark or creating in the dark, and you only know when you publish. But maybe with the feedback from after publishing, you would have even be better, right? But now we can do that before we publish, and the article is just another level. Because if you see my article, the first draft, you would laugh at it because it's just so, it wouldn't look like how it is. And then also like we have a graphics person who helped me with the graphics to make it like really awesome. So
Yeah.
I can really focus on the content, which is really amazing. Yeah.
But especially when it comes to your blog posts, when it came to writing a blog post as a hobby, you also have to think of the images, the thumbnails, the title, a catching title, and that takes so much time as well. So the fact that you can just focus on writing is amazing. So going back to this article, Data Orchestration Trends, the shift from data pipelines to data products. Why did you write this article? Where did it come from? Like, you just sit in your mini forest in your backyard, I don't know, looking at wild animals, and it came up. Like, what happened?
No, it's just when I see the trends in data, it was like Airflow is the dominant player, and but there were like so many tools before Airflow, and Airflow is also already like 10 years old, or 2014, yeah. So it's like very old, and then I thought, why is still everybody using it? And then I just discovered other tools. I got to use them. I use them for myself, for my toy projects, and I really loved how they integrated like just very hard problems into like this easy, sophisticated tool, which is plain Python. But if you don't know too much about it, it forces you to write like functional programming, and like it just lets you write best practices. And because I know a lot about, I just see them and how they're implemented, I was just like, okay, this is really great, and I would like to explore more. And normally by writing an article, I actually learn, right? So I actually go deeper, and only by writing and thinking about it, I get to like much more conclusions. But that's the initial key, that also that like Prefect and Daxter, that's the more newer tools. I also wanted to like just tell people what it is about and why are they there even. You could think, why we already have so many orchestrator, why you need another one? So and that was like the premise from the beginning, and then it just went into this article. Also the shift, so we call it shift because it's kind of like this imperial paradigm where you like explain what and why something and how it happens, to more declarative, which is like happening in Kubernetes, where you only have YAMLs, right? You declare everything else is handled by Kubernetes. It knows how to do it. So you don't write in the YAML, okay, do spun up this pod with so many CPUs, although you can parameterize this, but you don't really say how it does it under the hood, right? It's all abstracted away. But with Airflow, you basically had to do everything yourself. And that's what the newer tools, they take that away and go more into a declarative approach, which is so interesting to me.
And which is pretty the modern day stack today, right? And you made a statement here where you said data orchestration is less about data integration, but more about wrangling data, right? Like data quality, etc. That's a bold statement.
Yeah, it's actually there's also this discussion between rebundling, not to bring that up again and again, but rebundling and unbundling. But I think the orchestration is just also in the heart. Like first, of course, you have like the integration, which is like Airbyte. You would integrate it to a data warehouse.
Yes.
But then already there, how do you schedule that? Maybe you don't want to schedule it on an hourly basis. Maybe you want to schedule it event-based, or maybe you need to integrate it with dbt.
Yeah.
Maybe you have other tools like a reverse ETL tool. Maybe you have like so it's just this kind of I see it as boxes, and then you choose your boxes, and then but how do you bring them together? As you can read from like discussions out there, it's really, some people think it's like way too much, but I think like with actually these newer tools, you actually get the overview again, and you can like bring it together in one like control plane, and it's open source. And there's actually other tools like Ascend and Palantir that you can do the same. There's many more, Matillion, and like tools that have like this orchestration done like declarative, but it's only because it's closed source, right? They have all the metadata. But when I saw that you can do this now with open source, that was just like blowing my mind, and I wanted to like really dig into that more.
And is this what you're referring to when you talked about the shift from a data pipeline, rather than just a shift from a data pipeline to a data product?
Yeah, this is exactly this, because when you build a pipeline, your customer or users, they don't care about your pipeline. They want your asset, right?
That's a really
they want
good
your
point.
data product. They want your table that you produce at the very end. Maybe you do like 10 different steps to actually get there, but they don't mind about this. We are data engineers or like data practitioner. We are very proud of our pipelines, right? Because they are like doing a lot of fancy stuff. They automate everything. But at the end of the day, it's about the product. And
make it easier for your customers or whoever is using that pipeline to retrieve that data. That's the end goal, right? Making it as easy as possible for them.
Yeah, you have you already from the very get-go, you have like an asset that you can discuss about. Do you want like, maybe you define even columns, you define granularity. So you define this, and then you can build around. But before you had to grind, and even without anything like materialized or like pulled or pushed or anything, you can already, with these new tools, you can like declare like in a Pythonic way what this data asset or this data product is containing. So you can say, and you can build like logic on business logic on top of it, which you can already like discuss and without doing anything, right? And that's really the shift, that before you had to do the whole pipeline, and you were like more like discussing about pipeline and storage, and you could produce something with the pipeline and then show that to the customer. But you couldn't do it before.
Yeah, definitely. Wow, you put a lot of thought into this, and you're so passionate answering all of these questions as well. I feel like you're giving a speech at the conference right now. And I have some notes in front of me, but I'm really curious how much you can talk about this just from the top of your head. And I wouldn't be surprised if you're able to do this. But modern data orchestration tools, right? You talked about where did we begin, right? Where this came from, the evolution of the data pipeline orchestration. I'm gonna give you a minute and a half to explain this. 90 seconds. If you could explain, right, the evolution of the data pipeline orchestration. Is that too short? No, I'm gonna be nice. No, I'm not gonna be nice. Never mind. This is my interview. Sorry. So what is the evolution of the data pipeline orchestration in 90 seconds? It will start a clock right now. Let's go.
Yeah, I would say it started obviously with a cron job, right? Where you can do like basic time-based scheduling. And then you have like Oracle Warehouse Builder, you have like SSIS. That's actually the tools I started with, like Informatica. And then actually already a bit later, you have Apache Airflow, Lucci, Aussie, so this kind of tools. And now like today, you have like Prefect and Temporal, Daxter, Kedro. There's like hundreds of tools. You can also need to find your like use case. But I always think like 10 years later, there's always a kind of a shift in a tool. Otherwise, it wouldn't exist. You need to be sure that this tool will like kind of sustain in the near future. Otherwise, you set on a tool that is like dead, and then you have all your code. But also the cool thing about these tools is that they're Pythonic. So the only thing what you do is you add an annotation. So even if the tool is going away, it's still plain Python. You just need to like the annotations you cannot use anymore. But you could build like similar things or easier things around, but you're not locked in. But if the older tools, you were always locked in. So I don't know if that was a good answer, but
no, that was a good answer. And you did it under a minute and a half. Wow, I'm impressed.
Okay.
Impressed. So just to talk about this in chronological order, I mean, it started with the original orchestration tool, which was cron in 1987, which is when I was born. Gosh, that was a long time ago, right? And then it came to more modern tools in like the 2000s, like for example, Oracle, right? Oracle, OWB, Informatica, right?
Yeah.
And then from there, and before we even go to modern orchestrators, and then it moved on to some more simple orchestrators in 2010 and 2010s, so 2013, 14, where Airflow came in, etc. So why the change? I'm curious if you have the answer to this. Like, what was the difference in the changes from Oracle, OWB, Informatica to something like Airflow, Luigi, and Uzi?
Yeah, it was really the pain I went through, because with SSIS, whenever we had the new sources, it took me like 2 days clicking through every column, every table you had to like open, click. So you couldn't automate it. It was very time consuming, a very boring work. You could actually not focus on the transformation. So it was really like dissatisfaction. So there was a big bummer there, and people wanted the data faster and faster, right? But you were stuck to these tools that like had to like literally go through click. Yeah, it's also a graphical tool, right? So you cannot code, and that made it like that you had to automate that.
Now we move to more modern orchestrators.
Yeah.
Right. Daxter, which is starting to really grow. There's Temporal and Prefect. Why are they the chosen orchestrators? Why are they part of the modern data stack today, right? For modern orchestrators today, what is it so special about them compared to the previous orchestrators? For example, you said it came to the previous orchestrators, a lot of clicking, time consuming, very boring.
Yeah.
Like, why? Right. So what is it about the modern data orchestrators today?
Yeah, now I just actually remembered the other thing. It's also you're locked in, right? With the Python stuff, it's open source. So that was actually the first chip. So Maxim Bosch means you just open source the whole Airflow, and then it actually grows so fast just because everybody had this same tools. They were locked in, and then everybody were building together this open source product. So that's how it grows so fast. And then I think it's also because it's in Python. Python is really accessible. Even I come from a land like I write like PL/SQL from Oracle or T-SQL on Microsoft. So it's like very procedural and not really object oriented. So it's I wouldn't consider myself as a good programmer, but with Python, it was very appealing to me and easy to like write something. But then the Airflow, I think it's still a very great tool. So, but it uses more task-based. So when you have tasks, then I think it's a perfect fit. But if you have really data flows or really data-aware pipelines, then in my opinion, you should use like Prefect or Daxter. Or if you have like really fast responses and applications that need to be orchestrated, then like as we use at Airbyte, we use Temporal for that. So it's a very great tool it's very fast. With Daxter or Prefect would be too slow, I guess, because they're more batch processing. They're also going into event-based, but they're not like really fast for like application that you cannot wait, right? You need to have immediate results.
Definitely. And it makes sense now why you mentioned Prefect and Daxter, because they are the more prominent tools used today in regards to open source, right?
Yeah.
So you would often recommend Prefect and Daxter over everything else, or is it really still depend on the situation and et cetera?
I also have to say, I don't know all of them, right? There's really an interesting, awesome list on GitHub. And there's like, I don't know, hundreds of tools. There's like, Kedro is also one that is more like for like machine learning use cases. And I think there's so many great tools that do similar things. I was just like hooked with Daxter from the very beginning because actually, when I was in Bali, I tried to build my own. I was like 2 months in Bali to kind of trying entrepreneurship and trying to build some kind of ETL thing. I didn't really conclude anything, but then after like a year or so, when I saw Daxter, I thought to myself, that's actually the thing I would have built if I knew exactly what I wanted. So I was so intrigued by how they think about it, and it's really what I also thought a lot. And they had a solution for it, and also they thought really holistic about it. And Prefect is similar, so but I used it less, so that's why I can only speak to the things I know or used. So I would say other people use other tools, they have other opinions, but that's just it's also, I think I see a momentum there, and but might also be I'm biased, right? Because I'm following them maybe more than others. So.
Oh gosh, this has been fun. Simon, seriously, I want to thank you first of all for joining. And this is actually a very conversation. It looks like 40 minutes have passed, so I don't know how long this recording has been going, but it went by fast. It doesn't even feel like it's been 40 minutes or so. We started this interview, but to end this, then before we end this, is there anything you want to share for anyone who's maybe interested in Airbyte, wants to know more about Airbyte, career-wise? Anyone that might be interested in joining the company, etc. So you've already seen how it is in engineering and in technical writing as well. Anything last words you want to share with the internet?
Yeah, I think it's also my credo. I think just try to learn everything, like every day a thing, because by learning you actually don't focus too much on like what is written in like social media. You can turn it off and just focus on yourself. And then maybe after a while or after a month
to me
too.
Right
now? No, I think it to myself because I had to stop Twitter for myself because I was kind of drifting away, and it's just it's very interesting, but you don't get your work done, right? And then when I stopped it for a week or two, I was so liberated. My brain was much more clear, and I actually didn't miss anything. But when I go in, maybe I take a beer when I do it. I do it more on purpose and really enjoy it than just
you take a beer every time you go on Twitter.
Not like this, but I think Carl Newport said it. You just, instead of like just going when you have a 5 minutes and you don't actively doing, you actually actively enjoying it on a Friday evening, take a glass of wine or a beer and then really like enjoy it for an hour or two, but then put it away again, right? Because you can spend hours and hours. So it's you
Twitter,
need to find
TikTok,
your spot.
You name it.
Yeah.
Actually, for me, I sold my gaming computer. I'm a big gamer. All right, Counter-Strike, you name it, computer FPS, PC gamer. I sold it because I can focus. It's in there in my gaming office, and then have my office out here in the living room. But I still would walk to the, I would still walk to my gaming computer. So I actually sold it, and I only play my Xbox like every lunch now. But now I'm so much more productive, get more things done, and it's helped me a long way. So yeah, I agree. But I don't drink beer when I game.
I also didn't say that I do that all the time, but sometimes, yeah. But I'm the same. It's really, you need to like, or I think everyone is like this. You just need to know yourself and like, don't put it in front of your face because then you will do it, right? If you hide it, as you said, you might forget or you don't even think about it.
I just threw it away by selling it. So that was my way to overcome it. Yeah, well, awesome. Well, Simon, again, I want to thank you for coming to this interview. And for everyone who is watching right now, if you haven't, we would really appreciate if you can subscribe and give this video a like. And also, you know what, Simon, where can people find your blog posts if they want to read more of your articles?
You can find it on
blogs.
Yeah.
But how about your other personal articles if anyone wants to find that as well?
It's like my name, sspaghetti.com, or you can find it on LinkedIn as well.
Cool. I'll link it in the description below too, so everyone check it out. But first, subscribe and like the video.